All right, folks. I've got a real treat for you today. I've had a lot of emails and response into recent podcasts that I've done on alternative health, and people have sent me information on their lives based on stuff that's happened to them from pharmaceutical drugs, people that have been shot up with certain experimental vaccines and the side effects it's had on them. And I've also had a lot of requests to get somebody on the show that knows a lot about natural health and opportunities to help people break out of the pharmaceutical industrial complex and find ways to help heal themselves on a natural scale. So I've got Ronnie McMullen with us today. He actually used to run several radio programs that were very successful, and now he focuses his energy and time on these different mixtures and formulas of essentially raw foods and minerals that are good for the immune system, that are good for your body and your mind, which in return is good for the soul. So really excited to speak with you, Ronnie. Thanks a lot for joining us here at the Leak Project. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Rex?
Hey, fantastic. It's a wonderful day today. I'm out here in San Antonio, Texas. The weather has just been crazy. It was like 80 degrees the other day. I was ready to go to the beach, but now it's cooled down a little bit. I'm out here in my garage. So, it's funny because in Texas, it's either really hot, or once in a while it'll get a little bit cold, but it's kind of nice to have that break because doing 10, 12-hour days in the garage in the summertime when it's literally 100 degrees out there, it's even hotter in the garage, no air conditioning. It kind of makes it fun, though. It's like you're working in a sauna. But enough about that. I'm really glad that you're here with us. And, I have been taking this product now for a couple of weeks that you have. It's called D365. And it's like, I don't know, man, I think it's great. I've been feeling better. I've had more energy. I've been waking up in the morning with just like that extra kick, wanting to do more stuff. And I've been pumping out more podcasts. So, but before we get into this stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about who you are for those that haven't heard about you and tell us about yourself.
Well, I used to do, obviously, like you said earlier, I used to do radio. And when I was doing radio, obviously, when you eat and you don't know what you're eating, and we can talk about that a little later. So you're eating different things that you shouldn't be eating. You kind of don't know. Some of the stuff you do know when you're eating sweets, what have you, you go, oh, yeah, this is probably not good for me. But there's other things we're eating and we don't even know that it's not good for us. Well, over the time of X amount of years, I got myself jacked up and I got sick. And so I was getting very sick, and I had somebody from my radio show that was a listener said, you need to try this product. And so it was a tea, and I'm not a tea guy. I really is. I'm not, so I was like, tea, oh my gosh, somebody wants a tea. But I was so sick, I was like, you know what, I want to try this. I'm going to just try it. I did, and over a course of 3 months, I lost 25 pounds. I started feeling better, getting more energy, what have you. And so I got with a doctor and formulated what we now call Life Change Tea. Your D365 you were talking about is basically Life Change Tea in a pill. Basically, this is a mild detox, and it cleans out all the garbage that we get from different foods and GMO foods and the different air pollution, water pollution, the garbage that's, the different chemicals that are inside different foods, and it's all labeled something else. So it's not like it says here is a poisonous chemical. And so we get this as we're eating, and we need to get rid of it in our body. So people are getting prostate cancer, they're getting colon cancer, they're getting heart problems, and we go on and on and on. And it gets very scary. I mean, it's like normal people are just all of a sudden, bam, I've got X or I've got Y. And it's overwhelming, and it's very expensive, and we can go on and on. This is something that's very simple, and the tea tastes really good. And the D365 is basically almost the same thing, not quite as much, but almost the same thing in a pill, and for the people that don't have time to make the tea. And let me tell you something, the tea has changed my life. And then I formed the company, obviously Life Change Tea, getthetea.com. And I formed the company, and I started getting into alternative medicine and supplements and everything that I can find that's not just normal 1, 2, 3 stuff that will really prevent, help, change, whatever, our health for the better without going the pharmaceutical route. Now, sometimes we have to go pharmaceuticals and we have to go to the doctor. I understand that, and not all doctors are bad. But unfortunately, there's some that are. And we have pharmaceuticals that sometimes are just Band-Aids. So I really try to go the route with, obviously God made herbs, and herbs were created before man. There's a reason. And the reason is because these herbs combat all what I call intruders, which is different diseases. They combat this so that we can feel good and we can have our life. I mean, whatever issue that you're on where you want to say, hey, I want to come against the politics that are really bad, or I want to come against this or that, or I want to stand for what's right. You can do none of those things when you're sick. Even to a point of, I want to make money, I want to build my business, but if you're sick, you can't do these things. So the kicker is I try to help people be healthy and teach them if they don't know how, teach them diets, teach them all, whatever I've got to give to them so that they can feel better. And I get excited and I get to sleep at night doing it.
That's awesome. I remember back in 1999, I think it was, when the media just started blasting GMO foods, saying that now GMOs are going to be in everything, everywhere, yet they lead
Yeah.
to cancer, but you're going to have to eat it anyway because that's what everybody's going to do. And I've noticed that the foods literally taste different now than they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you go to a
Yeah.
convenience store, almost all the packaging, almost all the candy, the sweets, the drinks, even the mints have some type of aspartame, neotame, artificial sweeteners. Some of them now have phenylenolenics, which is a neurotoxin. That's why they label it on the gum. It says, warning, this product contains phenylenolenics, which is a neuro. It doesn't say warning, but it says this product contains phenylenolenics, which is a neurotoxin. So they have to warn the user, and they're like, oh, look, that's great. It makes it extra sweet. We don't have as much sugar. Fantastic. It's crazy the way people treat their bodies. And I've got some friends that are actually vegan, and they're super healthy, and they will never go back because they can tell a difference in the way that they feel. But most of us aren't going to become vegans. And even if we do, it's going to take a long time to get there. So I like having
Yes.
stuff that kind of counterbalances that and helps keep your body detoxified, because a lot of that stuff gets stuck in your gut if you're eating it a lot and if you don't have a good way to detoxify it. And then what happens when it gets stuck in your gut? Well, that's when things can get, that's when people can start having issues like leaky gut. There's so many people out there now that have some type of like Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, and this stuff wasn't really around as much. I mean, there was little bits and pieces of it, but if you look at the medical research, this stuff wasn't around nearly as much 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago. It might not have even existed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it did a little bit. But if you go into the food products, a lot of this stuff contains mercury in it, high fructose corn syrup. So I think that what you're doing is awesome because it's a good way to get that crap out of your body, literally, without using harsh chemicals to do it.
Well, our tea is number one. That's out of, I mean, we carry who knows how many products, and our tea is number one. And the reason it's number one is because it's one of the second forming cancers, colon cancer. And this is something that you're basically moving stuff out. And, let's move to John Wayne. I love John Wayne. I loved his films, so on and so forth. He died of cancer. And when they did an autopsy, they found about 30 to 60 pounds of sludge inside of him in his colon because he was clogged. This attributed and helped the cancer. Was it the main cause? I don't know if I'd say that, but it definitely did not help things. When you get stuff stuck in your colon, not good. And this is not something that you need to have fear. I don't want to push anybody with fear. What I'm saying is this is something that you can start drinking this, and people are. I mean, we have reorders are crazy sometimes because it works. It works. And that's the thing is, and I always tell people, there's all these products that I have. That's great. You can go scan through the website. But I always tell them the tea first, because the tea is what I call building trust. Because so many times we go to different companies and we go, oh, this is going to do this and this is going to do that and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't do anything. And then we're disappointed and then we're mad. We got ripped off, blah, blah, blah. I have been one of those customers. I don't want anybody from my company. I don't want anybody coming to my company and saying, oh, this. I'm like, no. This works. So I get them on the tea and they go, holy cow, this works. And yes, it works. One of the things it'll do is make you go to the bathroom. And D365 is the same thing. It'll make you go to the bathroom. And not to talk dirty here, but we're going to have some dirty talk. But when we do bathroom runs, that's a good thing. And I got to train people. That's a good thing because they're like, oh, it makes me go to the bathroom. I don't like that product. You want to go to the bathroom. That's what you want. Because when you're going to the bathroom, things are exiting you that shouldn't be there. This means you're going to feel more energy. If you're going to lose weight with just drinking the tea, and we can talk about other things later, but it's really exciting. And so for me, when people call and they're crying because, I lost 10 pounds and I feel so much better and I could, I had no energy and now I do and blah, blah, blah. That's exciting to me. And to me, I think it's so scary. You're talking about labels and different things inside the different packages. What is wrong with our nation? When we buy a bag of chips or whatever it is we're buying, and there has to be warnings on the package because of all the garbage. Why can't we not just have regular food?
But it's low fat.
It's low fat. There's no trans fat in there. There's everything else, but there's no trans fat. And we wonder why the cancer rate is through the roof. We wonder why diabetes is so crazy right now. And, and here's the really frustrating part. I just got to share this. So we go to the doctor. We don't feel good. And the doctor says, oh, this is what you have. So, and they're not even compassionate. And then you say, okay, so I've got this. Yeah, you've got XYZ. And so they go, here's some pills for XYZ. I double dog dare. That's a big dare. I double dog dare to ask your doctor, how long do I take these pills before I'm healed, before I'm cured? Now, the FDA with their fangs might come in after that, but I don't think so in a pharmaceutical run. only on a natural run. So ask them, how long do I take these pills? If you have high blood pressure, how long do I take these pills before, before I'm all well? And you will never get an answer, 2 months, 1 month, 3 weeks. You'll never get an answer. No, you got to take this the rest of your life. And then the other thing you should be asking is, so what's the negative results of this, taking this product? And most of the time, doctors, their eyes get wide open, like you caught their pants down around their ankles. Yeah, what's the adverse effects of taking this pharmaceutical? Well,
must not assimilate.
Exactly. So, when you take natural things, natural good things happen.
Well, I remember just recently, actually, a good friend of mine that had a child. When she had the child, she had to get a C-section. Essentially, or at least the doctor said that she did. Who knows if she really did? But they pull the baby out, and then the father's there, and he's watching. He's watching this whole thing, and then they say, "Hey, oh, by the way, we're going to give this baby a vitamin K shot." And red flags essentially, go up in his head. He's like, "Oh, a vitamin K shot." So he tells me the story, and he looks at he says, "Well, I want to see the insert of this vitamin K shot." And the anesthesiologist says, "This is really serious. If that was my grandson, I'd kick you out of here right now." And he says, "Because I want to see the insert of what you're injecting my child with." So they finally get him the insert, and in the insert, it shows that there is aluminum in the vitamin K shot. Aluminum. And he goes, "Well, I'm not going to inject my baby with aluminum. Did you know there's aluminum in there?" The anesthesiologist that's been doing it for 20 years had no idea. So it's like they're not even giving people a chance anymore. At birth, they're injecting babies with aluminum, saying that it's a vitamin K shot to save them. And it's just insane. And you look at the neurological disorders, the autoimmune disorders, the mass vaccines and stuff like that. So there's, for people that have already been damaged literally from vaccines, it's good to know that there's things out there that can help detoxify a lot of those heavy metals and stuff, because that's got to change people at a molecular level, in my opinion. And there's a lot of stuff out there that points to the truth of that.
Yes. Oh, no. Absolutely. And, a lot of people don't realize that, all disease starts in your gut. And people go, what? Yeah, all disease starts in your gut. So think about the food industry and what we're eating and all the fast food, and we can go on and on and on. The GMOs, and I think it's interesting. Monsanto, which is now Bayer, is basically saying, hey, we don't want to label our food that it says, that we have GMOs. We don't want to label that, and we don't want to label things that it says non-GMO. We don't think we should have labels at all. That way, people can just kind of guess. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Just guess. Well, why is it they don't want to label it? Because they know it's bad. And Monsanto's people, now Bayer, they don't even eat their own food. What does that tell you? So this is something where we're eating these chemicals, we're eating this garbage, we're eating stuff that's really not food. GMO, genetically modified organism. It's an organism. Genetically, in other words, let's just rephrase this. Man-made organism. And we're going to put that in our God-made body. They don't click. So you're going to have problems. So you want this stuff out. And a lot of times there's no label. So when you go to the grocery store, and the grocery stores are there's certain grocery stores that I try to go to, but many of them have been compromised. And a lot of the major grocery stores, they carry nothing but garbage. So when you go down, probably 80% of what you're putting in your basket is garbage. And so you go, wow. And we wonder why we're going to the doctor. And we wonder why we're sick. And we wonder why we're not thinking straight and why we don't feel good and so on and so forth. And, I don't think you can correct everything in a day, but I think people are waking up. The sleeping giant's waking up, and people are going, you know what? I'm going to do this. And this is to the point where when we send a supplement out, we don't just send a supplement that somebody orders. So if they say, okay, we ordered olive leaf extract. We don't just send that out. We send usually pamphlets out that basically explain what that is going to do for you and so on and so forth, so that you know what you're taking. In other words, you're going to take charge of your life. This is your life. This is not their life. This is your life. And so you need to take charge of it and say, oh, I'm putting this in my body because what does it do? Oh, it keeps healthy cholesterol levels, keeps healthy blood pressure levels, supports my cardiovascular system. Oh, yeah. And it makes you and your mind desire that product, and the product starts working. So it's really a win-win situation. And it's not just about doing something. It's about training people why you do what you do. Rex, why do you do what you do? That's important, not just what you do.
Well, why do I do what I do is because I just feel like it's something that I was born to do. It's weird. If I wasn't doing this on air, I'd be doing it at work. I used to work for a Fortune 100 company. What was I doing at lunch? I was talking to people about what they were putting in their bodies. I'd watch somebody drinking a diet soda with aspartame in it. I'm saying, hey, you're literally drinking genetically modified E. coli feces, and you're heating up high fructose corn syrup, which has got mercury in it, in a plastic container, which has got bisphenol A in the microwave. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that it used to drive me mad. Now I look at it more as, okay, if somebody wants to do that, That's totally that's their right to put poison in their body. If that's what they want to do, they should at least know what they're doing. So they have an option to make a decision. Well, do I want to continue to drink aspartame, or do I want to do something that's healthy and take products that are good for my body? Now, I'm looking at an article right now on WashingtonPost.com. Study finds high fructose corn syrup contains mercury. Now, this gets really good. Almost half of tested samples of high fructose corn syrup contained mercury, which was also found in nearly a third of 55 popular name brand foods and beverage products. It's either the first or second highest labeled ingredient, according to two U.S. studies. So what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? You're eating mercury, Roundup. Literally, go outside, pull an apple off the tree, spray some Roundup on it, and then eat it. Because that's what a lot of you are doing. Literally. It's crazy.
Well, and they wonder why they're gaining weight. I mean, most soda pops are high corn fructose. That's the way it is. And this stuff it's not even just the mercury. Even if the mercury was out of it, it's just so bad for you. It's so many levels. It'd be a whole 2-hour show just talking about that one product. And here's the thing is if we can teach people to start reading labels, because that's the first start, because a lot of stuff is not even labeled. But at least if we could start reading labels and we can start saying, what's a can of Coke have in it? What's a can of Pepsi have in it? What's a Twinkie have in it? And you say, oh my gosh, if the list, my daughter's a personal trainer, and she said, Dad, and this was years ago, she goes, Dad, if that ingredient list is like 10, 20, 30, 40 items, it's total garbage, it's total GMO, it's total everything, stay away from it. When you see 3 items, you're good. And I'm like, that was kind of a very simple kind of thing. And so when I turn around and I say, okay, here's some potato chips, right? So let's flip it over. And there's like 25 or 30 ingredients. That puppy is tainted. and if you can start telling your brain, this is cancer food. This is cancer food. It's all about alkaline and acidic. So most of these foods are making you acidic. So once you pull the oxygen out of your body, the next thing you know, you are a breeding ground for cancer. So if you start telling your mind, and I hate, people go, oh, Ronnie, you're killing me because I love my potato chips. Nothing wrong with potato chips. Just get the right ones. But you have to start reading labels. You have to become aware. You have to become in charge of your body. And if you do that, you're going to start feeling better. It is amazing when you start learning the stuff. It's diabolical what the companies have done to make us sick. And so it's, for me, I combat that as best I can. And the biggest thing to combat that is teach people what they need to do, become proactive with your health.
Absolutely. And here's another article. This is on the Non-GMO Project. 92% of the corn in America is genetically modified. And a lot of this stuff, I mean, if you think Roundup's bad, they're using stuff that's a lot more powerful than Roundup. A lot of this stuff is a D2 type pesticide, which is the same, it's a derivative of Agent Orange. And this is not an exaggeration. Look up D2, Agent Orange. The most popular pesticide in the world is D2. That's how they made Agent Orange. Yet that's in a lot of the food. And here's another thing, too. I mean, it seems like they actually specialize in putting certain chemicals in foods to cause opportunities for the pharmaceutical industrial complex to then jump in with their solutions. And I lost a family member last year, one of the kindest people in the entire world. He would literally do anything for you. He had a horrible childhood, and he was the kind of guy that grew up in just the most worst circumstances and used that as a way to be the best person in the world. Some people could grow up in that environment and be just terrible people and say, well, I was treated that way, so I'm going to treat you this way. He was the exact opposite. And he was literally, he used food. He got to the point he was really healthy, and then he started eating more. And then the doctor started prescribing him drugs. And he would just listen to what the doctor said. I mean, he would take the advice of the doctor. So he started gaining weight. The doctor started giving him more drugs. Man, I'm getting emotional just thinking about this. By the time he passed, the freaking doctor had him on 11 pharmaceutical drugs. One of those drugs had an FDA black label warning on it that says it could literally cause organ failure. And how did he die? Organ failure, because he kept taking more pharmaceutical drugs, and he used that avenue instead of finding natural ways to heal himself. And there was a few years ago where he started turning it around. He started exercising, eating better, and then his hip got bad. And then anyway, so it's just really sad to see these people that could be healthy and do good things for the world, but because they're on some type of pharmaceutical drug that causes depression and other ailments based upon the foods that they're eating, which are poison. It's just like this cyclical cycle of pain and suffering, and I certainly want to see it stop. So that's what I love about products like this is an offset. This is an option to break out of that paradigm and actually take care of yourself. And if you are going to eat GMO foods once in a while, which it's inevitable, it's going to happen unless you're in a compound and you're growing everything yourself. Well, this is an option to kind of offset some of those issues, in my opinion.
Well, and there's an issue of trust. And, when you're talking about your family member, he trusted that doctor. Okay. And that doctor, and I don't want to just blame the doctors. I mean, but the doctors basically, they're trained and they're not trained in nutrition at all. Did I say that enough? At all. So they don't know to tell you, hey, you might want to take some colostrum. Hey, you might want to take some herbs. Hey, you might want to. They're not trained that way. In fact, most doctors, if they say anything like that, they can lose their license. Wonder what's up with that. So point being is, and in the old days, if we'll rewind the clock back, maybe 100 years, the pharmaceuticals were plant-based, and now they're synthetic. So
aren't most of them petroleum-based? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, yes. No, you're dead on. No, some of them are very big. I always tell people, and this starts at the level of the farmers, by the way. I don't want to rally against farmers. I love people, period. But some of the farmers that won't wake up, that they piss me off. Here's the thing with farmers. They're putting, petroleum products on the plants. So when the plant produces whatever it's, it doesn't matter if it's a tomato or if it's a tree that's producing an orange, when that petroleum product goes in the tree, it's putting out a dangerous product. Now, it's such micro levels of poison, people go, oh, that's no big deal. But it collects. And if you're already driven with non-oxygenated, acidic, eating garbage, GMO-based foods in you already, then you're just picking up the pace. It's not if you get something, it's when you get something. And this is something that we can combat. This is where the tea takes it out. This helps, and obviously a lot of problems in nerves. And it doesn't matter if you get it from me or you get it from wherever. And a lot of people don't realize my products are organic. There's no fillers. And I try to do pricing to where the pricing is good because I understand what it's like to not have money. And, a lot of times we're not even touching on the base of pharmaceuticals and how expensive the pills are. I mean, it's not like they make a couple 100% or 300%. I did a show on this many years ago. Some of it was 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000% is what they make. And that was probably 7 years ago. What it is now is much, much higher. So it's about becoming a greedy, and this is terrible. Hospitals are an industry, and we're the guinea pigs. They're working on mice, and okay, let's give these mice cancer, and let's see what this does, and let's see what that does. And I'll tell you something else that really torques me. I'm on a pulpit, I guess. What really torques me is this whole, when you walk into line to the grocery store or a retail outlet and they say, would you like to donate to this cancer society, blah, 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 so they can, fight cancer by preventing cancer, that we already have cancer cures out there, people. That is a fact. And they are suppressing the information so they can do more drugs because cancer makes lots and lots of money. And if you ever notice somebody that gets cancer, what happens is they lose their money and the corporations gain the money.
Oh, you're so true about that. And also, when you think about it, it's almost like if you go to the doctor and they say the C word, it's not a placebo, but the opposite of a placebo, a nocebo, essentially, where a lot of times it can mentally have that effect on you to where people will lose hope. And then they oftentimes go in and get radiation treatments. When you do the research on that, I think there was a study done on doctors being questioned if they'd go through chemotherapy, and it was about 90% that says no way would they go through chemotherapy. And then you see video footage of like literally at the microscopic level, and hey, this could be false, but I've seen the video footage. It could be special effects, or there could be some way that they hoodwinked you. But they said in this video, when I watched it at the microscopic level, that they injected these cancer tumors with like THC. So there's things out there. I've heard of treatments like in the frequency range and stuff like that are good. They use like these frequency type things. So there's a lot of stuff out there that, yes, they are suppressing. And it would be nice to see more people become aware of this kind of stuff to the point to where they can't suppress it anymore.
Well, and most of it, people will contact us and say, if I take this, will I be better? And it's like, yes, that's true. But you're not going to be better, overnight. Which, we're all remote control people. We want to take, one product and boom, we're done. Okay, it's all good. We're done. I can go back to work and I have all my energy and lost my weight and whatever it is they want to do. And the answer is no. I'll be, there's not too many honest people out there, but I will be honest and tell you, no, it ain't going to happen. What you need to do is be changing your diet. Diet is huge, especially for cancer patients. Diet is way huge. So diet is huge for most disease. And we are eating wrong. Hello, you think? We're eating wrong. So if we turn alkaline, and there's ways to do that, and it's very simple. If we turn alkaline, then when we take the supplements, it's like a win-win situation because basically the assimilation is going to happen positively, and all of a sudden what's going to happen is those supplements are going to do their job intensely on your body. But if you're acidic, and you're eating all this garbage, and then you go, okay, I'm going to take XYZ, you're going to have not so great a luck. I mean, yes, it will help you, but not the way you need help. So there's lots of little tricks, and that's what I want to teach people. I want to teach people the tricks of how to make this happen, because, the true guinea pig was me. And so for me, I go, okay, I'm studying all the time. I'm not a doctor, but I study all the time. What will this do? What will that do? How does it work with this? How does it work with that? There's so many things, and it's endless. I mean, these trees and herbs are here to help us, and I think we're not taking advantage of that. And obviously, I guess they can create petroleum much quicker and easier and more profit than they can produce herbs. So we're in trouble, Rex. And if we don't turn this tide back, I mean, a whole nother subject for another show someday is the population of bees that are going bye-bye, and people don't realize the significance of that. If we lose our bees, and they're going extinct, by the way, if we lose our bees in exactly 5 years after we lose the last bee, the extinction of man worldwide will be done. That's huge news. No one's talking about it.
But according to Monsanto, it'll be okay because all we have to do is make little robot drone bees that'll be able to do all the work for us. And then they can spray all the chemicals that they want. I mean, it's crazy what you said is
That's their goal.
Well, that is. I mean, have you seen? Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. And I'm sure they want to have some bees around, but they probably want to have these new GMO bees that will last, one season, and then in order to reproduce, they have to be with another GMO bee from the same Monsanto company that, anyway, I mean, there's also, who knows what they want to do. It's not even worth getting into that kind of stuff. I don't want to give them any ideas. But if you go to getthetea.com, the thing I like about it is you've got different products in basically sections where if somebody has a certain, I'm just going to use the word opportunity that they want to work on, well, okay, maybe they've got some problems with their gut. Maybe they want to detoxify. Maybe they want to have extra energy. You can just pull it up in different sections there, like clean, cleanse, and detox, eye health, from the sea, immune support, stamina and energy, which a lot of people just drink all sorts of Red Bulls and Rock Stars and coffee to keep that energy. But then if you drink a Rock Star, sometimes it's like an hour or two later, you want to take a nap. You have that crash. So that's what I like about these products is it's a natural energy to where you don't feel like you have to go get your next caffeine drink.
Exactly. And people don't realize the scary dangers of drinking the energy drinks, the Rock Stars, the Monster drinks, and whatever. There is so much sugar, so much garbage in those. And if you notice, you get a high, but there's a low. So, those lows can be quite dangerous too. So, I just, for me, it's like, I don't want to tear down everything else. I know what's happened in my own life, and I go, man, this has changed me. And I've told my wife many times, there's certain issues in my life that I'm going through that I wouldn't go through if I would have known how to fix it years and years and years and years ago. So I've been doing this for about 10 years and probably hardcore for probably 4. And, it's like, oh my gosh. And now I'm really, really hardcore. So it's like this can be reversed. Issues can be reversed, but you have to be on it. And if you're not on it, you're not proactive, then it's not going to help. So I try to put the best products I can out for the best price. And then, of course, we have a specials page where there's all kinds of specials. So if you want to get multiple items, you can save money.
Fantastic. And in closing out tonight, what would you recommend to our audience, the Leak Project? And folks, when you go to getthetea.com, anything you purchase, make sure to use the code Leak Project, the section there, so he knows how you heard about us. And I'll give you some links here after the podcast. But if you could just give a recommendation to our audience that wants to have that preventative maintenance type thing, or maybe somebody has some problems that they want to have a little jump start to get out of that shell, what would you recommend for them?
There's 3 products that I call the mains. Okay. The first one obviously being the tea. The tea cleans your colon, gets you clean, gives you more energy, gets rid of garbage that's sitting inside of you, and we can go on and on. So that's awesome. There's 8 different herbs, blah, blah, blah. It's a powerful read up on Life Change Tea. And get the super. It's $5 more, but get the super because it will do the job. That's a great trust issue because you'll see, oh my gosh, this works. I went to the bathroom. I'm going to the bathroom. And after a while, when you use it 3, 4, 5 days, and this is something you just keep using every single month. And when you do that, you'll find that the bathroom runs get, fewer and far between, and you just become totally regular and normal, and everything's good because all the garbage is out of you. And it's like washing your car. It always looks good. You wash your car every week. When you stop washing your car looks like crud. So that's the way it is. So that's number 1. Number 2, all disease starts in the gut. So colostrum is huge, beautiful thing because I had so many gut problems, autoimmune problems start in the gut, so on and so forth. And there's so many vitamins and nutrient components that are sitting inside the Colostrum Complete. It is organic. There's B1, B2, B6, B12, A, essential, all the essential fats. The list goes on. If you have gut problems, leaky gut, stomach aches, blah blah blah. I double dog dare you to try this, because 3 heaping tablespoons inside of about 6 ounces of water. Drink that once or twice a day, and within a couple of days, you'll be like, I can feel my stomach. I can eat again. This is good. So that would be number 2. Number 3 would be our Ali C. And Ali C is a really kind of a powerful thing, because it is equal to 34 to 40 cloves of garlic. And we all know how good garlic's for you. But the wonderful thing about Ali C is you don't stink like garlic, you don't burp like garlic, and it doesn't leak through your skin like garlic. And so it does so many things. It's like nature's antibiotic, and it prevents so many things. And you want to look on the website for that, all of those things. So those are the top 3. And you can go on and on and on. It'd take too much time here, but those top 3, if you have those 3 items, you could sustain. That's how I see it.
Right on. Well, hey, this has been great, Ronnie. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Folks, check out getthetea.com. Also go to youtube.com/clandestine time lord and leakproject.com. Thanks for everything, Ronnie. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, folks. I've got a real treat for you today. I've had a lot of emails and response into recent podcasts that I've done on alternative health, and people have sent me information on their lives based on stuff that's happened to them, from pharmaceutical drugs, people that have been shot up with certain experimental vaccines and the side effects it's had on them. And I've also had a lot of requests to get somebody on the show that knows a lot about natural health and opportunities to help people break out of the pharmaceutical industrial complex and find ways to help heal themselves on a natural scale. So I've got Ronnie McMullen with us today. He actually used to run several radio programs that were very successful, and now he focuses his energy and time on these different mixtures and formulas of essentially raw foods and minerals that are good for the immune system, that are good for your body and your mind, which in return is good for the soul. So really excited to speak with you, Ronnie. Thanks a lot for joining us here at the Leak Project. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Rex?
Hey, fantastic. It's a wonderful day today. I'm out here in San Antonio, Texas. The weather has just been crazy. It was like 80 degrees the other day. I was ready to go to the beach, but now it's cooled down a little bit. I'm out here in my garage. So, it's funny because in Texas, it's either really hot, or once in a while it'll get a little bit cold, but it's kind of nice to have that break, because doing 10, 12-hour days in the garage in the summertime when it's literally 100 degrees out there, it's even hotter in the garage, no air conditioning. It kind of makes it fun, though. It's like you're working in a sauna. But enough about that. I'm really glad that you're here with us. And, I have been taking this product now for a couple of weeks that you have. It's called D365. And it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's great. I've been feeling better. I've had more energy. I've been waking up in the morning with just like that extra kick, wanting to do more stuff. And I've been pumping out more podcasts. So, but before we get into this stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about who you are for those that haven't heard about you, and tell us about yourself.
Well, I used to do, obviously, like you said earlier, I used to do radio. And when I was doing radio, obviously when you eat and you don't know what you're eating, and we can talk about that a little later. So you're eating different things that you shouldn't be eating. You kind of don't know. Some of the stuff you do know when you're eating sweets, what have you, you go, oh yeah, this is probably not good for me. But there's other things we're eating and we don't even know that it's not good for us. Well, over the time of X amount of years, I got myself jacked up and I got sick. And so I was getting very sick, and I had somebody from my radio show that was a listener said, you need to try this product. And so it was a tea, and I'm not a tea guy. I'm not, so I was like, tea, oh my gosh, somebody wants a tea. But I was so sick, I was like, you know what, I want to try this. I'm going to just try it. I did, and over a course of 3 months, I lost 25 pounds. I started feeling better, getting more energy, what have you. And so I got with a doctor and formulated what we now call Life Change Tea. Your D365 you were talking about is basically Life Change Tea in a pill. Basically, this is a mild detox, and it cleans out all the garbage that we get from different foods and GMO foods and the different air pollution, water pollution, the garbage that's, the different chemicals that are inside different foods, and it's all labeled something else. So it's not like it says here is a poisonous chemical. And so we get this as we're eating, and we need to get rid of it in our body. So people are getting prostate cancer, they're getting colon cancer, they're getting heart problems, and we go on and on and on. And it gets very scary. I mean, it's like normal people are just all of a sudden, bam, I've got X or I've got Y, and it's overwhelming and it's very expensive, and we can go on and on. This is something that's very simple, and the tea tastes really good. And the D365 is basically almost the same thing, not quite as much, but almost the same thing in a pill, and for the people that don't have time to make the tea. And let me tell you something, the tea has changed my life. And then I formed the company, obviously Life Change Tea, getthetea.com. And I formed the company and I started getting into alternative medicine and supplements and everything that I can find that's not just normal 1, 2, 3 stuff that will really prevent, help, change whatever our health for the better without going the pharmaceutical route. Now, sometimes we have to go pharmaceuticals and we have to go to the doctor. I understand that, and not all doctors are bad. But unfortunately, there's some that are. And we have pharmaceuticals that sometimes are just Band-Aids. So I really try to go the route with, obviously God made herbs, and herbs were created before man. There's a reason. And the reason is because these herbs combat all what I call intruders, which is different diseases